In my story titled The Polite Guest, a Syrian Father's Story, I talk about my journey coming with my family from Damascus, Syria to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Part 1, Damascus, Syria, the good life. To begin to understand where I came from, you need to meet my family. And what better place to meet them than the kitchen? I grew up in Damascus, Syria. I moved 3 times in that city. And in all of those places, most of my memories have to do with the kitchen in one way or another. The divine smell of my mother's cooking would lead me there to steal a bite. Or I would go there simply to hang out with her. Later, I would go to share with her a finjan of Turkish coffee and a cigarette behind my father's back. My mom always began cooking by sautéing onions and garlic. Whenever I tried to speak to her before it was time to eat, she'd say, "I need to finish preparing lunch. Your dad will arrive soon, tired and hungry." Lunch is the main meal in Syria, the center of our day. It was always assumed that our family of 4 would gather around the kitchen table to eat together. My mom, a perfectionist, would cook at least 2 main courses to satisfy the picky eaters. Your dad doesn't like white sauce. Your sister can't eat tomato paste. She would say defeated, yet matter-of-factly. Rice and bread were common denominators though. Wait until your father sits at the table before you start, she would say while still standing in the kitchen. "But I'm hungry, Mom." I said, "Wait, fine." But I would sneak some bites anyway. I couldn't help it. I've always been a foodie. I was always the first to sit. I scanned what was on the table and picked my seat to be close to the foods I liked the most. My dad sat down next after he'd changed out of his work clothes. He was already looking forward to his nap on the couch after the meal. Then Mom would sit. She never sat before he did, ever. "Sarah, food is getting cold." Mom would call my sister, who was always the last to sit at the table. I think I got most of the food-loving genes when I was inside my mother. So when my sister was born 4 years later, she did not have as many. Strong, smart, and quiet, she kept a lot to herself. A trait all 4 of us share that we have never acknowledged in one another. My dad is not necessarily the patriarchal type, but my mom definitely is. "A ship can never have 2 captains," she explained once. I'm not sure she enjoyed being the traditional second in command, but she excelled at it. I was not raised as a kitchen helper, nor was my sister. Instead, Mom did everything herself, from getting the dishes away to putting the leftovers away. She even took the seeds out of watermelon, piece by piece, before serving it. She pitted olives for us as well until she developed neck and back problems. The kitchen was her center of gravity. She could always be found there cooking, making coffee, smoking, or maybe all 3. I can still see her sitting quietly in the white and blue room with her Turkish coffee cup, a small woman with silky black hair tied back in a bun or ponytail, lighting a Jetan cigarette while something delicious cooks on the stove. My family was not the best at expressing feelings or making small talk. Conversations were expected to be started by my father, but he was not the talkative type, especially when he was tired after work. I was the noisy one at the table, a relentless jokester. I would never dare to tease my dad, so instead, Mom was the easy target of my silly, immature jokes about how she was shorter than me, or about her obsession with cleaning. "Your tongue has disowned you. Stop teasing your mother." My father always used this expression to say that even my tongue disapproved of the things I made it say. Mom did not mind though. She knew my jokes came from a good place. My sister would just give me an eye roll. In the second part, I tell about our last night in Damascus before we left to the United States. Our families did not try to talk us out of traveling. We all accepted that the Syrian crisis would get worse and that there was no solution in the near future. My family members never once to share their feelings, only discussed how we were going to handle the first month in Louisiana. And with Afra's family in another city, we could only talk on the phone about our plans in vague details. It felt odd to try to discuss the details during a phone call, especially because in normal times, we would just drive there to spend the weekend. My mom helped us decide what to take with us and what to put into storage. We had to leave most of our books to save space and weight. Mustafa told me to bring as many spices as we could because they were much cheaper in Syria than in the US. So we packed lots of ground pepper, allspice, nutmeg, cinnamon, sumac, cloves, and mixed spices, as well as pans to help reduce our expenses. When we finished, my mom was on the verge of breaking down. So she went to our bedroom to take a quick nap. After a while, she came out looking a little better, and we hauled our bags to my parents' place, where we would spend our last night. Then the fateful day arrived, August 15, 2012. We sat in my parents' living room at 2 a.m., waiting for the cab that would take us across the Syrian border to Beirut. The Damascus airport was surrounded by military forces and constant clashes, so we had to book our flight from Lebanon. We had spent the whole night trying to call Afra's family in Deshmail to say goodbye. Let's try again, I kept saying. Maybe it will ring this time. But neither landlines nor cell phones could reach them. And we could not travel there either because of the dangerous road conditions. My mom was visibly nervous, my dad pale. It was obvious they were hoping that the cab would not make it in time. We made meaningless conversation. Should I take my Syrian ID with me? Nah, leave it here. All you need is your passport and your university papers. Oh great, my watch battery died. Here, take my watch, give me yours. My dad handed me his watch. Looking back, I think he wanted to keep something of mine and give me something of his. He feared it would be years before we could meet again. Around 2:15, the cab driver pulled up. That is the moment that haunts me to this day. As I carried our bags to the cab, my mom was sobbing, asking us to take care of ourselves and of each other. My dad was trying to calm her until I hugged him, and then all the strength that he was saving for this moment was lost. My dad, my mountain, who had only cried when I was a month old and had a relentless fever for days, was crying over me again. What had I done? We will be back soon, I promised. But my parents knew better. During the 2-hour drive to Beirut, Afra and I held hands in silence. We both had one question that we didn't dare to speak. The same question we've asked ourselves every day since that night. The same question we still can't say out loud. Will we ever see our families again?